Good morning and welcome. My name is Tanya Marcos Vano. I'm the president for the Southfield Area Chamber of Commerce, and I want to thank you all for coming out. Well, thank you. I speak on behalf of the Southfield Chamber Board and our members when I say that we are delighted to once again host the Southfield State of the City Address. As many of you know, the purpose of the Southfield Chamber is to be a catalyst which creates connections that strengthen and drive Michigan business. Additionally, what we do is provide our members with a wealth of valuable business resources designed to help them reach their business goals. Before you leave today, be sure and check out our vendors. They're out in the lobby here as you walked in to check your coat. Those are our chamber members, and we represent a diverse industry found here at the chamber and in the Southfield area. The year of 2016 proved to be a busy and exciting year for the chamber. I'd like to share just a few of our accomplishments. And hopefully my slide is here. Our social media presence continues to grow. In 2016, our new visitor rate increased by 59%. We'd love to connect with you both on Twitter and Facebook, so please like us. Last year, we took in 76 new chamber members, which is a 10% increase from 2015. Thank you. We also have the Southfield Young Professionals Group, which you might have noticed there was a couple of representatives out in the lobby. This professional program is fully launched last year and has successfully implemented 2 leadership development programs and 2 event mixers. A board of directors was established, and we currently have over 30 members. We also launched our hospitality committee as well as our nonprofit committee. The idea is to further our exposure in the community and also help with this particular industries, both hospitality and nonprofits. As many of you know, the Taste of Southfield is one of our signature events. Last year, we introduced the Edible Creations competition, which was our version of the Food Network's show Chopped. Several of our community leaders, including our great mayor, the police and fire chief, served as judges, and we hope to do that again bigger and better this year. Needless to say, the crowd ate it up. Yes, right? During last year's State of the City address, we also mentioned that the Southfield Business Awards were being transformed into from a breakfast to a more elegant evening affair. It was an upscale evening's award ceremony. With overwhelming feedback, we will absolutely be doing that again this year as an evening affair. So thank you all who did attend and support that great event. Our business networking groups, which we have 3 of those currently, have exchanged over 200 referrals, and 78 of those were dollar generating. Our overall referral rate is up over this last year by 82%. For those of you that don't know, we moved. So we are now in the Arbor Lofts building, which is at Civic Center Drive and Central Park Boulevard. It's a great location and we're open. So anytime you want to come by and check out our facilities, we encourage you to please do so. And lastly, we hired a part-time assistant and 2 business developers. So our intention is to grow this chamber, and we will be able to do so strategically. So we're very excited about 2016 and expect 2017 to be even better. So that was everything that we accomplished in 2016, and with your help, we'd like to do more in 2017. So listed behind me on the screen are some of our events that we have. You'll notice that we've got them scheduled out for the year. Our golf outing, which you'll be found on the back of our program, is going to be back at Plum Hollow Country Club. We'd love for you all to join us. Of course, we're looking for sponsors for that event, so encourage you to check that out if you've not. It's a beautiful facility, but great venue. We are proud of the progress that we've made, and of course, we could not have done it without our esteemed board of directors. So could the 2017 Chamber Board of Directors please stand so that we can recognize you and all your hard work. And of course, I would be remiss without thanking our 2017 State of the City Chamber sponsors. We've got Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, the City of Southfield, City Center, St. John Providence, Denso International, Sandler Travis, Beaumont Health Systems, and I think I'm forgetting one. Let's just make sure. These are all of our sponsors. So thank you all. And of course, we want to give a very special thank you to the Best Western Premier Hotel, who has sponsored the valet and has allowed us into this great venue prior to even opening. So this is a special treat for all of you who've got to attend. So thank you very much. Your team has been great. And for you, those of you that do not know, the Epicurean Group is who is serving our fantastic lunch today. So they're showcasing just a few of the culinary expertise that they have here at this facility. So they will be taking over the restaurant. Epicurean Group moved the folks from downtown to this facility. So we're very excited to have this, this great company represented here as well. So at this time, I am going to invite Paula Tutman of WDIV of Local 4 to the stage, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your event. Thank you.
She's a little taller than I am. Hi, good afternoon. How are you guys? Oh, wow, that really sounded enthusiastic. I feel really good about being here. So listen, a really funny thing happened. So first of all, I'm so pleased to be here to introduce the two mayors. In talking to Mo Henderson, who is kind of my handler, and she gave me the address, and she told me where it was, and I thought, doesn't she know that place is closed down? I was so confused, but okay, so she gave me the address, so I punched it in my nav, and I'm driving down the road, and I'm thinking, yeah, but that place is closed. Are they having it outside? And then so I'm driving along, and then I come up on it, and I'm like, that place is still closed. What is she thinking? And then I pull in, and there are all these cars, so I'm assuming I'm in the right place. And so I walk in, and this place is gorgeous. Wouldn't you agree? What an exciting time to be here, to see this gorgeous hotel going up. And I understand they're going to open in April, and you're going to talk about that a little bit more in the Epicurean Group. What a great time for Southfield to shine on this first day of spring when we could use a little sunshine. Don't you agree? So I'm really, really pleased to be here. I can't wait to hear your speech. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce the City of Lathrop Village Mayor, Frank M. Brock, Jr. Frank. You can keep clapping. There'll be more opportunities to clap, so keep that going. So Frank M. Brock Jr. has been the mayor of Lathrop Village since 1995 and served on Lathrop Village City Council since 1989. He's been an active member of the Michigan Association of Mayors since 1998. Brock served as Director of Human Relations, Assistant Vice President for Hospital Services, Vice President of Planning and Construction, Vice President of the Providence Hospital Foundation, and finally Vice President of Governmental Relations, totaling more than 38 years of service for Providence Hospital in Southfield. Now, Mayor Brock also served as a board member of the Southfield Downtown Development Authority for 15 years and executive director for the Southfield DDA, Cornerstone Development for 3 years. I'm exhausted just saying all of this. Brock is a past president of the Southfield Chamber of Commerce and continues to serve on the board of directors of the Southfield Lathrop Optimist Club. And listen, and your bio is even longer. He's the current chairman of the Michigan Municipal League's Workmen Compensation Fund Board of Directors. And while doing all of this, Mayor Brock and his wife Virginia raised 99 foster children and adopted 8 children, many of whom have special needs. How about that? The city of Lathrop Village, the city of Southfield, and the state of Michigan have been fortunate by Frank's long-serving presence and his dedicated leadership. Frank has a genuine compassion for all, and he truly leads by example. I'm exhausted reading that. You must be exhausted raising all those kids. Ladies and gentlemen, the city of Lathrop Village Mayor, Frank M. Brock, Jr.
Always a little fan of yours. I love your reports.
You have good taste.
I agree. My bucket list is complete. I've been introduced by Paula Tutman. That's a lifelong dream that I'd end up somewhere where she actually introduced me. So I appreciate that lovely introduction. Raising a lot of kids has its challenges. Fortunately, I was blessed with a good wife who really did 99% of the work in raising those kids. It's the reason I worked so many long hours, but anyway. She told me the green arrow advances this stuff, right? Okay. It's a pleasure to be here. Again, I thank the Southfield Chamber and all of our sponsors for making this event possible. It's always a pleasure for me to, the last few years, to have been a part of this program. And I appreciate the Southfield Mayor's willingness to allow me to be a part of this. And we appreciate the services we receive and share with the great city of Southfield. I have spent, as you heard from the recitation of my career, a lot of my career has been centered in and around this city and its surrounding area. The many years I spent at Providence Hospital allowed me to participate in Southfield area affairs in many ways that a lot of people never get the chance to do. And it was always a rewarding and exciting experience. So I always like to tease my Southfield friends by, as you know, their slogan is the center of it all. I like to tell them that Lathrop Village is the center of it all. So that's the purpose for that. But we're also a shining star in this Southfield constellation. So just wanted to pass that along. The Southfield Area Chamber of Commerce not only serves the businesses of Southfield, but has been reaching out to surrounding areas, including the city of Lathrop Village. They've helped us welcome a number of new businesses to our community in the last year or two, and we're appreciative of all the services they provide us as well. We're especially fortunate with I like to term it our big brother, the city of Southfield. We go any direction out of our town and we find ourselves in Southfield. So we're very conscious of their presence, but we're also appreciative of the services that we're able to share and contract with them for. I'd like to just recognize a few of my Lathrop family that are here. Kelly Garrett, who is our Mayor Pro Tem. Ian Ferguson, who's a city councilman. Donna Stallings, one of our other council members, is supposed to be here and then has not arrived yet, but she won't miss a free meal. She'll be here. I'd like to recognize Tom Bainbridge. Tom is a past chairman of our Downtown Development Authority and a banker of some notoriety in his past lives, and I should say, most importantly, a dear personal friend of mine. Andy Potter, our new city administrator. Sean Kammer, who is an assistant, and heads up our DDA and our downtown activities. Ken Martin, who is assistant to their city administrator, and also is involved in some of our downtown activities and is our director of communications. And communications is a challenge for any and all cities and all businesses, and it's no exception with us, and he's been helping us improve that. We're appreciative. Yvette Talley, our city clerk. I don't think I missed anybody, so moving on. Various things that we share with the city of Southfield. We contract them for fire and EMS services and all the various services that go with that contract. So the fire chief of Southfield is also the fire chief of Lathrop Village. So and he's going to pay us a visit in the next few weeks to get better acquainted with our city council members. We also contract for dispatch through the City of Southfield Dispatch Services. We contract with and receive services for our citizens through the Southfield Public Library. And finally, we've been privileged to join with our friends in Southfield to help them reconstruct Evergreen Road. Part of that road, I'm told, runs through or along the edge, one edge of our city, and so we are privileged to be able to help and be a part of that construction project. But you know, in all sincerity, I think when I was here last year, I complimented the city on the marvelous job they had done with Evergreen Road in that stretch along there and between 10 and 11. And obviously, I think if that's any indicator of the caliber of improvements that will be made on Evergreen Road, we'll all be pleased with the end result when it's finished. So we are pleased to work with them in that regard. We continue to work with our, not just Southfield, some of our other municipal neighbors as well when it comes to Southfield Road. Southfield Road has been a headache for Lathrop Village for years. It splits our city right down the middle. It is a wide, I look longingly sometimes at a picture that's in my city administrator's office that shows it when it was a dirt road. And I think that might be maybe a direction we should head. And if it takes any longer to get an approved design and a reconstruction of that road, it may look like that again. But not only Southfield, but ourselves have been working together with the Road Commission of Oakland County to try and come up with a solution for the road that meets each of our city's needs. Southfield has specialized needs in their portions. Beverly Hills as well at the other end, at the north end of the road. And Lathrop in particular, we're wanting to have our center of our city emerge as a little more traditional downtown, greater walkability, all the types of things that are part of our master plan. And we need to have that road and the improvements and the replacement of it have a design that reflects and helps us expedite those goals. So that's what we're all working together to accomplish. In terms of growth for Lathrop Village, I'd like to point, well, I haven't managed to change any of these, have I? Michigan First. The Michigan First Credit Union is obviously our city's largest taxpayer. They're big development on the corner of Evergreen and 11 Mile Service Drive has been a beautiful addition to our community. It replaced for those of you with long memories will remember, a rundown shopping center that was getting worse by the day, and they're deciding to take that corner and redevelop it into their headquarters. It's been a boon to our city, and I think as well to the city of Southfield, as it certainly fits in with all the efforts that they have been making to revive that Evergreen corridor into something special. The Michigan First Credit Union expansion has had an estimated cost of $24 million. It's going to add 178,000 square foot to their campus. It did include the addition of some additional abutting property in the neighborhood right adjacent to it, but they have been very responsible in terms of making sure the design and the construction activity, which now has begun. If you've driven by there, you know that you've seen them digging up the parking lots and doing a lot of the underground work that needs to be done first. And I think there's an artist's rendering of what it'll look like. So it's going to be that frontage there facing 11 Mile will be quite impressive. I'd also like to just talk briefly about some of the upcoming events. We have our farmers market, which has now been several years running. We do it on the City Hall campus on Southfield Road there. We're going to move it slightly this year. It's still going to be on our campus, but on the other side of the municipal building. where we will have more room and we think we can accommodate parking better, et cetera. So we're excited about the fact that it kicks back off on May the 10th, and our hours are 1:30 to 7. We invite all of you to come by, participate, and join us. Kind of coupled with that, we have our summer concert series, Summer Concerts in the Park, which will begin on June 21st, and are every Wednesday, really following the farmers market, which makes it kind of fun for people who are the latecomers to the market. They come, they stay, they get something to eat, they stay for the concert, and have a good time. So we invite again our friends from Southfield as well as Lathrop to join us and come out for those events. Upcoming, we kick off our summer with the Summer in the Village, which is, we didn't bother putting the date on there. Does anybody know when that is? This is a test for the staff. June 17th. Whether he's right or wrong, we'll find out, won't we? That's the day before my wedding anniversary. Yeah, so I do remember. I've never forgotten my wedding anniversary. It's 52, it'll be 53 years this year that my wife has put up with me. She unfortunately couldn't be here today. She is always excited about coming to hear me talk. She doesn't get to hear me enough, but she came downstairs the other night and she said, "Hold your hand out." And she put a tooth in my hand. She had broken a tooth off, so I said, "But you'll still go to the," she said, "There's nothing I'd rather do than have my tooth filled. Then it's certainly preferable to listen to you talk some more." So anyway, so she's having her tooth fixed while at this moment. Oh, Food Truck Fridays. This is something we started this past year. It began almost by accident because I can never say how coordinated I am. I can't get my fingers to work with the slides, so at any rate, one of the staff, I think, was it a policeman or one of our policemen, said, "Have you guys ever thought about doing these food truck events?" And so we thought, well, this sounds like a neat idea. We ought to try it and have it on a Friday. People, the work week is winding up. Our citizens could come and get something to eat, picnic in the park with the food. And so we tried it, and it was a huge success, and it has grown tremendously, so it will go on every week now, beginning August 4th. So we're looking forward to that. The next thing is one of our new events last year was a jazz festival by the Kimmy Horn, who is the mayor of Southfield knows this the wonderful performer. She lives in Lathrop Village, but she's always been kind enough to at least do one of our summer concerts on behalf of for the city. And so last year she approached us. She wanted to do an inaugural jazz festival, and it was one night. We picked a wonderful day, so one that we knew it was going to rain like crazy. No, the park was full of people. The rain came. The park had no people right after. The rain ended, and the amazing tribute to Kimmy is they all came back. And we had a great time after all, in spite of the rain. So this year she was making it a 2-day festival, and we're delighted to have her with us once again. It's going to be August 11th and 12th. As we look ahead in terms of Southfield, or in terms of Lathrop Village, we received our redevelopment ready status a couple years ago, 2015. We were one of the first towns to get back on board that program after they kind of revamped it, as I recall. And we were found to be redevelopment ready. All we need is money now. So those of you who want to step up and develop in town, we'll help you get that done. Our future depends very strongly on Southfield Road, developing the consensus I mentioned earlier. Our efforts to redesign our city center so that it's more walkable and truly more of a downtown. The Annie Lathrop School, which is right there as a part of that downtown area, is a kind of a cornerstone piece of property that we need to redevelop and make it exciting for the community. So walkability, green space, sense of community, those are the things we're trying to reignite in Lathrop Village, where we're obviously primarily a residential community. Southfield has always been known more for these towering office structures and so on as well as, but they also have a wonderful community of residential properties. And we're just delighted that we're in the middle of it all. So again, thank you all, and I'll turn it back over to Paula, I guess.
Thank you, Mayor Brock, and know that we're all very excited to hear about your wife's tooth. And she'll be excited that we all know about that as well. And so I'm still very, very excited to at least do this introduction. And just like I picked on him, I'm going to pick on you too. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mayor Siver has lived and worked in Southfield for nearly 50 years. That's a half century. That's 600 months. That just feels long to me. That's my way of saying that we know that this is your city. As a teacher for Southfield Public Schools, he taught English, journalism, and American history for almost 2 decades before becoming a full-time administrator in 1986. In 2011, after 44 years with the district, he retired as deputy superintendent of Southfield Public Schools, but he continues to serve as a school volunteer. From the moment Dr. Siver moved to Southfield decades ago, he's been an involved citizen, and he continues with his community involvements to this day. He's an active member of the Southfield Goodfellows, Southfield Historical Society, Southfield Lathrop Democratic Club, Southfield Parks and Gardens Club, Magnolia Neighborhood Association, and member of the board, a founding member of the Southfield Martin Luther King Task Force, and the current president of the Southfield Nonprofit Housing Board, and you are the mayor. Dr. Siver is the author of 3 must-read publications. I'm not sure, did they end up on the New York Times best-selling list? They didn't? Well, they should have. Wait until you hear the titles. Southfield faces the crucial decades, the development of a suburb and its school system in the years following World War II. That was just one book. A Brief History of Southfield for elementary school students, 1991. And Southfield, the history of our city in its 50th year, circa 2009. In 2016, he co-authored the biography of his great-grandfather entitled, and this one concerns me a little bit, An Uncommon Criminal, The Extraordinary Life of Edwin Turner Osbaldeston. Did I say that right? Osbaldeston? Listen, I got stuck at Uncommon Criminal. And you want to hold me to the last name? In 2001, Dr. Siver was elected to the Southfield City Council. He was re-elected to the City Council in 2005, 2009, 2013, and in 2015, he made that big leap as your elected mayor of this great city of Southfield. Ladies and gentlemen, your mayor, Dr. and Mayor Kenson Siver.
Oh, that's quite an introduction, Paula. Thank you very much. And it's always hard to follow Frank Brock. He thinks he's the center of the center, but actually Lathrop Village is a suburb of Southfield. But we're glad to have, we're glad to share our services, and we are all good neighbors. I have so much to tell you today, and there's so I hope you'll bear with me. I'm supposed to do this in 45 minutes, but I got a ton of pictures. It's really, really exciting. I'm very geeked to be mayor. It's just, we have so many wonderful things happening. So let me get right into this. And, you know, I'm going to move because I'm going to get a sore neck, I think, if I stay up here. At any rate, I want to do some introductions first, and I say this all the time. People ask me, well, how's it going? And when you're the mayor, the Southfield City Charter does not prevent you from, there's checks and balances that our council president reminds me of repeatedly. But the mayor's job is really an ombudsman, an advocate, and a sort of all-around help to the city administration and the council. But anyhow, we have a great, great team. And no one does anything alone, but I could not do all the things that we're trying to do without this great team. So I'm going to read off a number of names, introduce people. I'd like you to stand, remain standing. And I'm going to start with our council president, Myron Frazier. Also, Council President Pro Tem Lloyd Cruz is not here today. He's been under the weather. Councilman Dan Brightwell, Councilman Donald Fracassi, Councilman Ari Mandelbaum, Councilwoman Tanya Morris. I don't see Joan Seymour, another council member. Our wonderful city clerk, Nancy Banks. City Treasurer, Irv Lowenberg. Our City Administrator, Fred Zorn. Our Deputy City Administrator, John McRena. Supporting this team, if you'd like, supporting this team is our administration, and we have Sue Ward, our city attorney. Please stand, Sue. Our DDA, I'm sorry, you can hold your applause, so we'll keep it moving. But Terry Crote, our city planner, Alice Sevis, our DDA director, Maria Calhoun, code enforcement manager, Dave Ewick, city librarian, Terry Fields, Parks and Rec, Shelley Freeman, business development manager, Eric Hawkins, our chief of police, Lisa Hawkins, cable television, Bill Johns, Homeland Security, Nikki Lumpkin, purchasing, Michael Mannion, community relations, Johnny Menifee, our fire chief, Jim Pierce, our deputy budget director, and we have a new, his name is not up there, but Austin Michaels. I know you're here someplace. Austin is just joining us, I think today, correct? First day on the job. In another deputy budget director, Mark Pilot, our building director, Lee Schultz, city engineer, a guy I can't do without, Larry Searles, and our public works director, who does a lot of the complaints that come to my office end up in Larry's lap. Lori Siskin, human resources, Rhonda Terry, human services, and Laverne Walker, technology director. Also, thank you. Part of our city, of course, is the 46th District Court, and with us today are three of our justices. We have Cynthia Arvant, if you'd stand, Sheila Johnson, and Deborah Nance, and our court, it doesn't run smoothly without a good administrator, and that's Renee Schlide. I see from Southfield Public Schools, we have our school superintendent, Dr. Linda Wood. Yolanda Charles, school board president, Betty Robinson, Charles Hicks, Michael Poole, Talisha Rice, Leslie Love Smith, I hope I haven't missed anybody. Also from Oak Park Schools, my best buddy, Daryl Joyce, trustee, sorry. When you read off names, it's always dangerous. And from Oak Park Schools, Davita Colbert is here. Okay, so we've got a great team, and Mike Radcliffe, city assessor. Sorry, Mike. Really, I need a podium out over here. But anyhow, moving on. This is a really great team, and we work well together. And I just want to assure you that in Southfield, we do not have inaction, or we're not mortarbound. We are moving because we all get along, we're respectful for one another, and we really are a great, great team, and I appreciate all of these people tremendously. They make me look good. So, the theme of our State of the City address today is really about being redevelopment ready. As Frank mentioned, Lathrop beat us to the punch on this, but when you're an established community, you really only have, if you're going to remain a viable community, you only have one way to go, and that is through renewal and redevelopment. And today I want to show you very enthusiastically all of the things that are happening in redevelopment. But before I do that, I just realized that from Congresswoman Lawrence's office, we have Michael McGinnis. Please stand. And from the state legislature, our very able representative, Jeremy Moss. Anyhow, so the theme here today is being redevelopment ready, and which means that we have met all of the requirements of the Michigan Economic Development Corporation for certification. In December, we became the 9th city in Michigan. So not very many cities have this, although we're proud that Lathrop does as well. So what does that mean if you're redevelopment ready? Well, it means that we're doing the best practices in planning and zoning, that we have a new master plan that's up to date, zoning ordinances that reflect the goals of the master plan with flexible parking, infill development, housing options, and we prioritize redevelopment sites and market the same, and we have an economic development strategy. Every community needs to have a master plan. Ours was approved by City Council. It's about sustainability last June. And so as we look at this, first, what are we doing in redevelopment commercial properties? Well, obviously the big one is Northland Center. So I want to tell you that in December of 2015, the city of Southfield took ownership of Northland. And it was something that it's a move that is sort of fraught with lots of new things for us. It's probably the biggest undertaking we've ever done as a city. It's 120 acres. But the alternative was to let it sit. We did not want blight. We did not want dumping. We did not want scrappers. We did not want an eyesore at the opening to our community. So after there were no viable proposals to take over Northland, the city of Southfield purchased the property. However, we did not own the entire mall. We owned the mall itself, but we did not own Macy's, JCPenney building, or Target. We've consolidated those properties. We've secured the property. We've completed a massive environmental testing and ready to move ahead with that. We've hired a team to create a master vision and unveiled that vision in late summer. We've vetted numerous Development proposals, we're stockpiling dirt. I'll come back to that in a minute. We've leased a portion of the parking lot to Autoliv for autonomous vehicle testing. We've identified qualified demo contractors, conducted reuse studies of the former Hudson's building and power plant, and we have a master broker coming on board soon. And then, as you might imagine, because Northland opened in 1954, it is loaded with easements. So before we can even do anything there, we have to untangle all of these various easements. I think there are 876 pages of easements. So our vision, and you can learn more about this by going to www.imaginenorthland.com. But we see the centerpiece of Northland being the former Hudson's building with radiating spokes that go north to OCC and Providence Hospital, out to Greenfield, and down to, on the bottom, Northwestern Highway. We see mixed use of various housing styles and price points, restaurants, expansion of Providence Hospital, research and development, medical offices. Providence Hospital has told us they are out of medical office space. They also need parking like yesterday. But all of the feedback we got from our public was they want to see green space here. They want walkable spaces. We envision a small lake that would serve not only as a recreational focal point to the property, but also for stormwater retention. So what's ahead? We are about to let bids out for the removal of asbestos on the property. As you can imagine, being dated back to the 50s, there's quite a bit of asbestos. We are going to start demolition this spring or summer. First phase will be the Firestone building and the Target building. We are working with Providence on a final determination for what they want, plus a final determination on Hudson's and the tunnel, and the tunnels. And I mentioned the dirt. People drive by and they say, well, the only thing I see happening at Northland are these huge piles of dirt. Well, this is really a preemptive move on our part. If you've ever been in the basement of Hudson's, and most of you probably haven't, it's deep. It's 20 feet deep, and there are 385 rooms down there. Everything was designed to come to feed the stores from below. And so some of this eventually is obviously going to be filled in. If you need fill, you have to buy it. If you're contracting and need to get rid of fill, you sometimes have to pay to get rid of it. So what we're doing is we're taking clean dirt off other people's hands, stockpiling it, rather than having to buy it later. So that explains why we're doing that. We have a plan for the Hudson's building. Really hope that we can see an adaptive reuse here so that we can save a piece of history of Northland. But also, this is a very structurally sound building. It's extremely well built. And we see that on the lower level, we would do some retail or commercial uses on the second and third, or third and fourth floors, perhaps the second floor, doing some loft apartments. And the really cool thing is that our engineers have told us that the interior of the building could be a parking structure. In other words, so imagine you buy yourself a fourth story a loft on the fourth story of Hudson's, and you drive up through the center of the building, you step out of your car, step through a door, down a hallway, and there you are in your apartment. It's like having your parking space right outside your unit. Also, I haven't given up on the tunnels. We're still debating what we're going to do about the tunnels, but one of our engineers suggested that perhaps we daylight some of them and turn them into creative walkable spaces. The lower illustration is something they've done in Seoul, Korea that we were very impressed with when Councilman Brightwell and Tanya Morris and I were in Seoul last May. We also have a marketing plan. I think there are sticky notes on your table to start marketing the former Northland property. So we also have some spill-off happening in the area. We have Loop Investments, which is a Southfield company, has purchased Providence Tower, which is, it's a little hard to see, but it's up closer to where 9 Mile is, and then these apartments, the Providence Place, and they're doing $5 million in renovations. Work has already begun on rehabbing these apartments. We're very glad for that. So the next area I want to move to, obviously, is our city center. Again, we did not have the people that owned this property did not seem to have a great vision for it. They just saw drive-through restaurants. And we really want to create a walkable, sort of a sense of a downtown. You know, Southfield was a community developed around the automobile. We want to lessen that. You know, we'll never get away from the automobile, at least not for the foreseeable future. But we do want to kind of lessen that, make it more of a walkable community. And so what you're looking at is a rendering of, if you're standing in the south driveway of the city center, looking to the west, you have 5,000 Town Center on the left. And what we see is a number of mixed-use retail and apartments. We're looking at a boutique hotel in the rear, a parking structure for about 1,000 spaces, and again, the retail and housing units, 155 of those on the upper floors facing Evergreen Road. Another look at it really quick, and probably this view gives you a little better sense. We would be over here, we're in the hotel, looking towards the City Hall and the green space that we envision, even a little cafe in the middle of the park there. And of course, it'll have public art. Evergreen Road, we've gotten numerous kudos about this. I really believe when you build something innovative, that people will come, they're attracted to it, and that's exactly what's happening. We received 4 awards this year, the Keep Michigan Beautiful Presidents Award, the Concrete Association Award, probably one of the more prestigious awards is the Michigan Chapter of the American Society of Landscape Architects, their award, Merit Award, and then the Southfield Chamber of Commerce Sustainability Award. New construction is underway on Evergreen. We have a Vibe Credit Union in the lower picture that I'm told by Linda Daly, who's in the audience here, that it's going to open in May. And very shortly, some of the retail space in the building being built at the top by Time Equities will open. And Arbor Lofts is set to expand with 70 to, it'll depend, 70 to 80 townhouses. These will be 3-story with garages on the first floor. There's a demand for that. And retail on the corner. This is obviously at Central Park Boulevard and Civic Center Drive. We are blessed to have, and it's supported by the businesses in the City Center. We have a group called the City Center Advisory Board. They have made major investments in improving our city center, including this walkway. It's along Northwestern Highway. It is now possible to walk from City Hall across Civic Center Drive, up Northwestern to Lasher to 11 Mile, and back down to City Hall. We have a complete loop. And in this loop, we're going to add some interesting art spaces. So we have one that I hope the City Council will approve tonight, no pressure. But we want to begin a fundraising campaign for something we're calling a Red Pole Park. And this is with a matching grant. Patronosity will, dollar for dollar, up to $50,000 will match this project. So hopefully we will raise this spring $100,000 for this project. And by the way, DTE last week after they pulled out of town and fixed everybody's lights, left us 38 poles. So we'll be painting them red. We have a tremendous partner, and part of the success of the City Center is Lawrence Tech. I am just so excited about everything that goes on there, and it's such a pleasure to work with Lawrence Tech. Where's our Lawrence Tech table? All right, you guys are wonderful. This has been a tremendous year for the university. So much has happened and so much more is coming. They opened the Alfred Taubman complex with the Marburger STEM Center. This is phenomenal labs. They do things in those labs that are beyond me. Artificial turf athletic field was installed. They announced in November the creation of the School of Nursing with Providence Hospital in partnership. Shortly, they'll be breaking ground for a 320 student dormitory. Oh, I skipped the football coach. They're going to have football. It's going to fill hotels like this. And the coach is hired, and they've already been recruiting kids from Southfield High School. And we have the business collaboratory that is expanding and progressing. They're not in the Marks building yet, but that's coming. It's just tremendous to work with the university. So I want to talk a minute about the collaboratory, and I know there are people here today, and there's a table outside the banquet room here, but this all started with a grant, and it's a partnership between the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, City of Southfield, and Lawrence Tech, and so far they've helped 15 companies to form, maybe more than this, I may be out of date now, 2 companies expand, and patents, jobs, and $2.4 million in follow-on funding. In other words, they're generating additional funds. And what this center does, it brings an idea, it's a product or a service, and it brings it along into fruition with a lot of help. This is part of our Smart Zone, our Centropolis, but again, it's a great, great partnership. Again, I had the opportunity to meet a number of people here today that are benefiting from this boost. So we're very glad to be a part of the collaboratory. So moving on to our residential. We're very pleased with what's happening in the business, but we also want to strengthen our neighborhoods. So we have one of the things that we've done this year in partnership with the Southfield Nonprofit Housing Board, as well as with Habitat for Humanity Oakland, we took over 45 tax foreclosed properties. The funding mechanism for this is from the Nonprofit Housing Board, which for years had just managed River Park Place, McDonald Towers, and Woodridge apartments, low-income senior housing. I'll talk about that in a minute. But this project, we're doing this because it's designed house by house, neighborhood by neighborhood, to improve our housing, stem the rise in rental homes, reverse the negative impacts of the mortgage crisis, and cut a speculation of by real estate interests, some of whom have really preyed on Southfield. So these houses are all, the first one has been sold, more are coming. They have to be brought up to code, and the people who buy them at market value must live in the home. Last Thursday, we cut the ribbon at McDonald Towers and River Park Place. These 1970s apartment buildings had gotten very tired. They had needed major repairs and upgrades. And so these are brand new buildings now. Totally everything from top to bottom has been done. We've spent over $37,000 per unit. Over 19 million, and it's phenomenal. I'm just so impressed with it. And it's almost like a hotel. These are some of the public spaces. We have an exercise room, crafts room, even a theater. The lobby, it's a little hard to tell, but in the distance, there's the lending library. There's also a computer lab. There's meeting spaces. The residents that live there are they're just ecstatic about their new digs. We're also working on another project with Habitat for Humanity, and this is something we call Rock the Block. And we're going through neighborhoods to reinvest, improve homes, and we started this last fall. It will be back this year. The owners, it's voluntary, but if you sign on, you get materials donated to clean your yard or, in this case, paint a house. But you have to put some sweat equity into it as well. But this is just another approach to improving and supporting our neighborhoods. I had this idea, and I'm really concerned about where we're going if the federal government's budget is going to cut community development block grant funds, because there goes our housing program, there goes our chore program, there goes youth assistance, all kinds of things that we spend that $500,000 on. But to stretch some of our dollars, I called on volunteers this year, and I didn't know if I'd be the only person with a rake, but we did a big rake. 250 people showed up, and a lot of them came from LTU, which I'm extremely grateful for. But Comcast, I think you're in the room, as well as the Kappas, the Southfield Parks and Garden Club, Eaton, all joined in the effort to help us with litter, park cleanups. And it's that kind of volunteerism that we need, and we need to encourage to make sure that we keep Southfield an attractive place to live, work. Something that we're going to be unveiling very shortly is 2 neighborhood enterprise zones. And these, as you can see, the northeastern corner of the city and the south central, sections 34 and 35. These areas were chosen because they have the largest concentration of homes built before 1960 and have modest assessed values. So this is a voluntary program, but we will reduce your taxes by 15.2 mils. You have to leverage that tax break up to 12 years for major home improvements that meet code and are by licensed contractors, and it can include everything from any major thing like roofs, rewiring, plumbing, windows, foundation, insulation, home addition, etc. Again, this is strictly a voluntary program, but it's something we want to offer some of our residents to inspire them to invest in neighborhoods. All right, so moving on, our public spaces, we're redeveloping them as well. And a lot of it has to do right now with our public art initiatives. If you were here last year, you know you heard me talk about the Northland Art Collection. It was slated to go to auction by the receiver. I thought, we can't let this happen. This is a historic collection. It's been there, most of it since the 50s, by name. A lot of the names of the artists you don't know, but they were leading sculptors of mid-century America that the J.L. Hudson Company contracted with, and it was set to go to auction. So I went to the council and the administration, and I asked, we can't let this happen. They agreed, but the caveat was, how can you justify buying art when you have potholes, when you have vacancies in the police and fire department and other needs in the city? And so I turned to the community and asked us, we took out a $500,000 loan, and I asked the community, starting with the library board, which has a trust fund, to save this historic 14-piece collection. We started a year ago, and I'm pleased to stand here to tell you that we have raised $601,086 to date. So we're going to close this, but I'm coming back. I need money for that red pole park. I need money for another slide that's coming up that's really an exciting piece. So you'll have an opportunity to give again. And remember, it's tax deductible. So, again, I have to give kudos to the library board. They donated $300,000 to kickstart this campaign from the Leon Miller Legacy Trust for this. And while I'm speaking of the library board is getting very close to announcing the restoration of some of the hours that were cut in leaner times. So we're going to see our library opened a little longer, and we're appreciative of that. So very much to our surprise, we're rummaging through the basement, which, as I've told you, is huge, and covered up, and over in a corner, very unlit corner, there are 4 more pieces of art. So now the collection is 18 pieces. You may remember the peacock at the top. The peacock was out in the mall, and the bottom of it had rotted or corroded. And so when it collapsed, they just stuck it in the basement, got covered with other things. And then Hudson Weber took pieces out of other malls they owned and stuck it in the basement. So we have the Etrog piece, the Morris Bros piece, and a Harry Bertoia piece, which is a very nice piece. So we're involved in that. We had the donation. Skip Davis, a resident, donated Gratitude by Jay Lefkowitz for the South Roundabout. You've seen it there. This piece actually originated in Southfield. Jay, at the time, was a Southfield sculptor, and it was at a Southfield art show that where it originally appeared. We've also done 3 other installations. The SFLD letters were provided by the Center Advisory Board. Our diversity piece, John Pyatt, a longtime Southfield resident, sculptor, installations all over Metro Detroit. He donated this piece, Diversity, to the North Roundabout, and sad to say that John passed, but he got to see this 2 weeks before he passed. This was installed. And then a project we worked on for 4 years, the Baseline project in Pocket Park at 8 Mile in Rutland. This again was financed through private donations, and we dedicated that park celebrating the historic significance of 8 Mile Road as the first successfully surveyed road in America. Also, under our public art initiatives, we have a new, and I think, Terry, this will be online soon, correct? A new art guide of all publicly displayed art, city-owned and owned by others in the city of Southfield. This is a very exciting project that we hope, I don't know if you know the name Charles McGee. He's a phenomenal African-American sculptor. He's 92 years old, still got a lot of creative juices going. Charles has offered to donate to us Common Ground, his design for that. Charles did a similar piece, but smaller, outside of the African American History Museum in Detroit. We're hoping to have this piece on the Southfield Civic Center, and we'll be fundraising for this spring. It's going to be called, our campaign is going to be called Finding Common Ground. So moving on to our public infrastructure, this is being redeveloped as well. In 2016, for the 2nd year in a row, we led Oakland County in the amount of road construction. We're on tap to do that again this year. We repaved 12 miles of roads, added 2.7 miles of new sidewalks, plus replaced a lot of others, sewer lines, water mains. You'll see the same thing happening. These are some of the projects. I won't go through it all, but 9 Mile Road was probably one of the best projects of the year between Telegraph and Beach Road. We are set to do $50 million worth of work. We have a little donation from Lathrop Village, which we're pleased with. We've actually raised $9.4 million to redo Evergreen Road between 9 and 10 and 11 and 13. The Lodge Service Drive, 10 to Lasher, Telegraph to its terminus, and Lasher Road, which is, again, a county road between Civic Center and Northwestern Highway. And by the way, any of these county roads or state roads in Southfield, their hand is out. We contribute to all of those projects, even so they're not ours. So we will be doing subdivisions. You can see several there. Again, this will include all of the infrastructure, not just the roads, but sewers and water lines, miscellaneous streets, a whole number of them. Some of them are, most of them are in subdivisions or single streets. Moving on to our schools. There's redevelopment going on in our schools. You may recall a year ago, the Southfield Board of Education came up with the 2020 plan. And this plan was about right-sizing the district and being economically viable school district. And so they did some school closures to combine Southfield High and Southfield Lathrop and formed the new Southfield Arts and Technology High School, which opened very successfully this past fall. Not exactly a new program, but something that's new at Southfield A&T, and I think is a really great idea. We can get a lot of kids in college, but some of them flounder once they're there, and maybe think about your own experience. It can be rough that freshman year. And so we have something running in Southfield schools with the help of Wayne State University called the C2 Pipeline. I've been over several times to watch the kids. It's skill building, it's confidence building, and it's voluntary after school, 4 days a week, and it complements the district's efforts for international baccalaureate, dual placement, and advanced placement. We also have, and some of the folks are in the room that are supporting this, we have the first robotics competition continuing. It's been supported by Kamau and Denso. In addition, Lear and Denso sponsor the Southfield High Arts and Tech robotics team. Meanwhile, across town, Yeshiva Beth Yehuda School is totally being rebuilt. This year, they're occupying the former Shanels Elementary School, and this is currently under construction on Lincoln Drive, the new building. Our Hebrew schools are seeing tremendous growth in enrollment. The Kiva, former Kiva School on 12 Mile is in the finishing stages of their new building. We'll be renaming the school the Farber Hebrew Day School, and ribbon cutting is planned for May. Moving on to our business community. This has been a tremendous year for ribbon cuttings and business expansion and new businesses arriving in Southfield. I have cut so many ribbons this year with the Chamber of Commerce, and it's been great to experience this. This particularly one happens to be Detroit versus Everybody, the clothing store that's up at 12 in Southfield. But we see a list of expansions: Kamau, Lear, Denso, Credit Acceptance, NexusNet, AutoLive, 123Net, new leases, Baker Tilly, Global U, Great Expressions, Sandler and Travis. Sandler and Travis, 300 new jobs at least in Southfield. Credit Acceptance Corp. Bringing $46 million in new development and 570 jobs to the city. The other companies that have really all expanded, and also Blue Cross Blue Shield. The media called me and wanted me to, I think, boo-hoo about the loss of or the move next year on Microsoft. We hate to see anybody leave, but they haven't told the whole story. Coming into Town Center this summer is 380 jobs from Blue Cross Blue Shield. And the Friedman Group, one of our local real estate companies, has been buying up Southfield. They're very hot on Southfield. They've taken over the massive Galleria Center, done tremendous amount of renovation there. They've got new tenants, including Sandler and Travis. Other ribbon cuttings this year, probably one of the most unusual for me anyhow, was the Unique Lady Pride Prom and Bridal on the corner of 10 Mile and Southfield with a fashion show, a DJ, this food spread you wouldn't believe. Anyhow, Jimmy Jazz, Hobbytown, Michigan State University's College of Human Medicine, Kresge Eye Institute, Charisma's Closet, H&M Nails, Rainbow Rehabilitation, Renee's Gourmet, Zoop. Zoop started in Southfield on Northwestern Highway, their #1 store. They've gone national, and now they're opening a second store, opened last week on Evergreen. It's their 100th location. We're so pleased to have them. Pace Southeast, I'll talk about in a minute, 42 West, Comerica Bank, Pancake House, Wendy's, are all some of them. PACE is a senior adult center that does everything from nutrition to has doctors on site, adult daycare, especially for Alzheimer patients. Renee's Gourmet Pizza, no gluten-free there. And then, again, this is out in the lobby, but we help sponsor the annual collaboration for entrepreneurs in January. 34 startup companies were there. It's a great way to get exposure and build your business. And of course, I have to talk about where we're sitting today. This property, we thought this is going to be imploded. No one's going to come here and save this property. And we are so glad for the Kiwi group out of New Zealand that goes around the world and they find properties that they feel are should be highly successful, but have been mismanaged. And so with new management here and huge amount of renovation, you can see that the Premier, which is the tower with 192 rooms, $3.6 million investment there, will open probably next month. They're a few days away from various approvals. And phase 2 is expected to open this summer. That's behind us. That'll be extended stay. $2.5 million. And then a year from now, summer of 2018, the La Quinta Hotel, which is the tower out back, will open with a new spa and swimming pool. Just what some of the rooms look like in the hotel. Very nice finishes, as you can see. Moving on, I want to talk very quickly just about a couple things that the city has done. Our Southfield Parks and Rec board and our team has come up with a new 5-year master plan. This is important because if you have a new master plan, it enables you to get grants for programs as well as property acquisition. I had the pleasure last summer of cutting the ribbon at our first handicapped accessible barrier-free play structure in Beechwoods Park. This was the group Think Beyond the Chair, and Daimler Chrysler donated $35,000 investment into Beechwoods Park, for which we are extremely grateful. And of course, I can't forget our public safety folks. For the 9th consecutive year, major crimes are down in Southfield. We've hired 15 new officers in the police department. We have more coming. If anybody needs a job, right, Johnny? We have vacancies in the fire department we want to fill. As well as we're going to be adding 3 more firemen as we get back. Our tax base has improved a little. We'll be adding 3 more firefighters come the new fiscal year. And then I just have to mention a very interesting study that we had no idea that we were going to end up here. But in early February, we discovered that a study had come out from the New American Partnership that it was looking into the idea that immigrants equal crime. That's been in the news a lot, as you know. We always hear about those bad hombres. In Southfield, this is not happening here. We've had an influx mainly of Iraqis. At the same time, crime has come down. We are on this list. We are number 6, so that's something to applaud. And finally, I want to wrap up with just some of our coming attractions. Comcast will be hosting another volunteer day, Comcast Cares, on April 15th. At this time, it will be Freeway Park. Connect with, if you want to volunteer, with Parks and Rec Department. Last year with the reconstruction of 9 Mile Road, we have 2 wonderful flower stands. It's a little bit of old country here. And those flower stands really had a disastrous year with the road construction. So we want to give them a boost. So Flower Day is returning to Southfield. It used to be on the front lawn. We're going to have Flower Day on 9 Mile this year. And if you come, you can come anytime once they're open for the season. But if you come on Saturday, May 20th, from actually 9 to 6 p.m. with a Southfield ID, you will be able to get substantial savings. Yes, take a picture of that. Substantial savings on flowers and plants. Our summer solstice, which has been, we had a wonderful time last year. Our fun run, walk, it's even a stroll. If you can't walk, you can always stroll. And it returns to the Southfield Civic Center, but we're going to expand it this year. We have a group called the Southfield Ambassadors that are promoting Southfield, and the ambassadors are organizing a parade to go along with the fun run. The parade will start from LTU to the Civic Center at 4 p.m. The fun run, walk, and stroll. Even we have a kiddie walk too. 6 p.m. and activities on the front lawn, food trucks, and a beer tent. Our Parks and Garden Club on the 26th, we'll do the garden walk. We'd always take a different neighborhood every year. It'll be San Marino. We'll have more information about that. Family Fun and Safety Night returns to the Civic Center on the 28th. Our gazebo concerts begin at the Historic Burg weekly through August 22nd. And the Southfield Historical Society the museum will be open during that. Once again, I want to thank you so much for your undivided attention. It has, I'm having a ball as mayor. This is the best job, and it's so exciting because we are getting so much done. There is no gridlock. I've got a great team. We're all working with common goals. It's a great time to be in Southfield. So thank you so much for this opportunity.